Hey guys. So I know I've been kind of on a streak, which has not been conscious. I've just had a lot of time, vacation and all. But it is the first day of 2011, and I thought a New Year's video would be appropriate. I see some of you guys are putting some up, and yeah, it's just 'tis the season, right? So I usually don't pay so much mind to New Year's just because I really have, for so long, I've always thought of Samhain as being, Samhain isn't technically the new year, it's more like the end of the last year, and then there's kind of a liminal period until solstice. At least that's how I've always thought of it. But because Samhain coincides so closely with the beginning of the school year, because if you're a student, really your new year kind of begins in like late August or September when school starts. I think that's just how we're conditioned. So January always just felt kind of anticlimactic because you're already, it's like school is halfway over and you're just coming back to finish up another semester, and then it's the summer. And anyway, but for whatever reason this year, it really does feel like a new year. So this is appropriate. And I always say that I don't like New Year's resolutions, and I'm not going to make any resolutions, damn it. But I always do. Don't let me fool you. I always make resolutions. Last year I actually kicked a whole lot of ass on my resolutions, because I actually only made one, which was I had just broken up with a boyfriend, and I resolved to get back in shape because, funny thing, being depressed does not lend itself well to being healthy. So I started feeling better, and I started treating myself better, and I found that getting in shape came pretty naturally. I've still got a little bit of ways to go, but I'm a runner. I've gotten back into running, and before I was with said boyfriend, I was really, really heavily into Taekwondo, and I'm not practicing martial arts anymore, but I could see myself getting back into it next year. And the reason that I left, why I stopped practicing, really had a lot more to do with like organizational politics and all, just kind of like the crap that goes along with kind of commercialized martial arts rather than the practice itself. But anyway, I digress. So one of my resolutions is to keep up with getting back into shape. I'm pretty close. And what I mean is just like getting back into my weight range, which I'm very close to. So, let's see. Otherwise, sorry, my brain just stopped. Oh, my other resolution was to circle more frequently on my own. I am a member of a coven, and I do have a pretty strong solitary practice, but something that I've noticed, I think I read it in a book once or someone said it to me, but I found it to be very true in the course of my life, and those of you who have struggled with any kind of depression or, gone through hard periods in your life, which is pretty much everyone, right? One thing that I've found is that often your spiritual practices are a lot of the time the first thing that go when you stop taking care of yourself, and they're often the last thing that returns when you start feeling better. And that's always been really true in my life, and I think of it as like a Maslow's hierarchy of needs things where, have you guys seen that? I'm holding the camera with my right hand, so I can't make a triangle, but picture a triangle, where, like, this is your needs, right? And at the base, it's things like shelter and food. And then in the middle, it'll be things like, social relationships and, like luxury, above that, it might be like luxury kind of material goods. And then at the very tip, it's going to be spirituality. And this is not something I just invented. This this social philosopher, Maslow, who many of you might have heard mentioned if you've ever taken a sociology class, devised this. And the idea is that when you're driven to your base needs, those are what your base needs are: food, shelter, drinking water, etc., etc. And I don't remember why I was bringing this up. Oh, it's because when you start feeling bad and you get into this place, and by you I mean me, where you're not taking care of yourself, I find that I stop doing things like praying or circling on my own. I'm a member of a coven, so it never just stops completely because I always have people checking in on me, which has been really, really important. But it's important to have a solitary practice too. I mean, I've gotten some questions in the past about, and I've seen questions not posed directly to me about, well, do pagans and witches who are members of groups, do they necessarily believe what everyone else in the group believes? Do they have their own thing going on? Or are they just a group? Because we have this tendency of talking about solitaries like that's something different from people who are members of groups. But the way I've experienced it is that even people who are members of groups, they still have solitary practices. So it's not one or the other. And when you get into a coven, my experience has always been that it's still pretty diverse. I mean, you have core things that you agree on, and you have to be able to work well together. But ultimately, your connection with the gods is about you. Your high priestess can't give you that. Coven members can teach you a lot and can be, essential on your path, maybe, depending on who you are. But if you don't have a calling on your own, then no one person or no group of people is going to give that to you. So, having that in my life was one way to kind of stay on track. But this year I want to kind of find my way back to the strong solitary practice that I used to have. So far so good. And for me that includes things like prayer. I'm not a really big meditator. Not gonna lie, guys, I'm really bad at it. I think everyone has their own way of meditating. And for me, the closest I get to meditation, outside of what I do with my group, the closest I get is the state of mind that I fall into when I run. So I think of that as meditation time, but I can't, sit and close my eyes and clear my mind or focus on a candle flame or whatever. Some people can do that, and that's great, but this is me saying that I can't really do that, and for those of you who find that you can't do it either, that's okay. There are others. So don't feel bad. So yeah, prayer, meditation, solitary circle, just being more connected with my coven, and reading more. I find a lot of peace in reading. I'm always talking about books, and in half of my videos you can see this just obscene number of books in the background. So that's a big part of my life. So kind of keeping that up. So those are the resolutions for 2011. I try not to make too many. And the last thing I wanted to mention in this video, because it's already longer than I thought it would be, is journaling. I'm an obsessive journaler. I've been journaling since the 3rd grade. You can imagine what those journals look like. And I got a new journal today, just because I saw it and I thought it was adorable, and it was something that I haven't tried before. This is the 1 line a day memory book, and I don't know how well you can see this. Here, I'll do this. Sorry, it's kind of dark. But it's a 5-year diary, so you just write a couple of lines. So if you're not a journaler, this might be a good way to kind of keep track of your life without making a ridiculous commitment. So I thought it'd be fun. But I journal a lot. This is the journal I'm keeping right now, which is almost full. And it's just lots and lots of crap. And I've shown this one in an earlier video, the Book of Shadows video, This is, it's kind of a book of shadows, I guess, but it's a journal. And this one's all about my spiritual practice. So that is what I leave you with. Your lives are important, and you should record them, which is why you guys are on YouTube. But I find that paper journals are helpful too. So, Happy New Year, and I will see you later.